Alright, we're gonna go over some trades. We're gonna be rating them and essentially just talking about whether they were valid or not. So, start off. Here's what we have right at 9:30. We don't really have too many good opportunities today. We're gonna be rating a couple. So let's get straight to it. So, I I saw this short, right? And initially I did kind of want shorts from this area, right? I understand that we do have this big gap that, eventually has to be filled, but you cannot be married to a bias. Like I said in the Discord, we are, at this point in time, we're pretty far away. We're around 300 points away from the end dog, so we'd have to, get there relatively quickly. And on top of that, we just have a lot of bearish PDRAs that we'd have to go through. And what I noticed is that we had this little devil's mark right here that I would have appreciated as a draw on liquidity. And I took a scalp up to there, but we're not here to talk about scalps. We're here to talk about the trades that are should have been taken today. So we have Asia high, we have London high, and we have this no wick right here with this bearish gap. Alright, so off of that, on top of the fact that we had an SMT right here also. At this moment in time, we had an SMT with London high, and also this no wick. I kind of did want to see some shorts, and initially I wanted to see shorts off rip right here, right? But we didn't actually end up closing below this fair value gap, as you can see. And so, we have to wait. And upon us waiting for this short, we formed a 5-minute gap. And now, I understand that if we want some shorts, I would appreciate this 5-minute gap closing. And this is why we take the highest time frame inversion, because that saves us from these losses. As much as this looks really good, we have this order block created, right? And we just tap to this gap, and this is an A plus, setup. We just don't have the highest time frame inversion. We could still respect this 5-minute gap. It's not just this 1-minute gap. And we had some equal lows that I wanted to see ran to right here, anyways. I wanted this gap hit. So the RR wouldn't even have been that great anyways. So it's not even something worth taking it's not even something I would personally put size on and risk losing, knowing we have this 5-minute gap here for strictly maybe a 1-to-1. So anyways, we ultimately respect it, and as I see that we're respecting it, I understand that since we're delivering for a 5-minute gap and we do have some really good draws up here, this needs to be filled, like I said earlier. I could see this 1 minute, I can see this 1 minute working out, and then maybe I could target up to Asia high for a cool 1 and 2. And once we hit this high right here, I'm going break even, and I ultimately get break even here. On top of that, ES at the time hit London high, so we get break even off of that, and we have we come out of this zone. All right, now this is important. This is a little bit more discretional. We see that we have this 4-hour right here, this 4-hour gap right here, and we also have this 1-hour gap right here. But this gap holds a lot more power, even though it's smaller than the 1-hour gap, because it's on the higher time frame. So given that we closed above, I understood that okay, we might have been bullish, because we closed above right here, regardless. And if you look here, Oh, this is on MQ. I don't know why it says MQ. Close above right here on NQ. So you always look at NQ instead, guys. Even though we close above right here, so okay, I do want bullishness, right? But I also am peeping this 2-minute inversion right here. And the reason why I was okay with taking this 2-minute inversion, even though we closed bullish on the 4-hour, is because if you look here, it's like, I would appreciate if we came down, ran these lows down here, and tapped into this gap. It was like both ES and like ES had an equal lows right here. We had this bullish gap. I would have really appreciated this gap, you know, get it ran to it, then us going higher. But we go break even at this low because this is the 15-minute, new 15-minute, and we get break even right here, and then ultimately we end up respecting. And given that we end up respecting this gap, there's another trade that is what Patty took right here. And, you know, he's just targeting a 1-to-1, going break even at these highs. So these are easily, these type of highs stacked right here, easily bread and butter, and he got out at this 1-to-1. But what I told you guys to do is to wait for this 5-minute closure here. Where's it at? Where are we? Oh, okay. Come up. We tap into this 5-minute gap, 5-minute inverse, A+ setup. Bullish overflow already as it is. Stop loss I'm just having right here. Close price realistically shouldn't come down to right here. For at least a 1-to-1. And you know what I'm doing afterwards? Once we get another inversion like this, I'm adding size to my trade, and I'm scaling in a lot more, and I put my stop loss right there. This is also an A+ setup. This is a setup inside a setup, and now I'm in way more cons, way more contracts, and my break even could be right here, and I can still target a 1-to-1, right? Still target a 1-to-1. You know, just given them in way more size than, you know, normally. Once we get this, I'm just trailing at this point. Trailing my stop loss at this point. And obviously we come back down. That's what we have. So that was a pretty good setup for a Tuesday. I think those are all the setups on Tuesday. Definitely shouldn't have lost today. If you trade are all similar. It's just pretty simple, you know. If you just pattern traded the back model, you definitely shouldn't have lost. But now we could look at Monday. And here's Monday. Well, 9:30 we tank, and we get. Oh wait, this was on Martin Luther King Day. My bad. Alright, this is on Friday. Cause I didn't trade Monday. Friday was pretty easy. So, offer it. We're already chopping. Offer it. Not really interested in any of this stuff. But what did we do get? What did I take? Oh yeah, this. So there's a few things I wanted right here. So sweep this high right here. Where are you guys? Sweep took this high over here. SMT, big SMT with this high inside this 4-hour rejection block, and also 1 hour no wick. I was, you know, pretty obvious. I mean, 930 immediately took it out, and then we get this chop action, but we got a 5-minute inversion right here. So there's this 5-minute gap, very tiny, and I told myself I wanted to limit this gap right here. It was really close. I said, okay, I'll take this 5-minute inversion if we remain above this right here. And we didn't. We inversed all the way down here, and I'm like, okay. Wasn't quite sure if I wanted to take the 5-minute inversion tap right here. Stop loss probably would have been like right here. Target down to here. And as I'm setting up my limit, it literally skyrocketed up and we tank. And I get a 30-second inverse. And do I get a 30-second inverse? No, there's no 30-second inverse. I was looking for a 30-second inverse. And we keep going lower. And I would love to just slap on, but I don't know how far we're willing to go. I'm not really, you know, I understand we have this low resistance liquidity built up, right? And I was bullish coming into the day, believe it or not. Like I just wanted these lows to again maybe come into this premium or whatever, but I understood, okay, we left the swing low open over here. Right? And we never quite tapped into this 4-hour gap that I wanted to see tapped into. So I'm like, okay, that's clearly the draw I want. So once we get a retrace, and you retrace into this 5-minute gap, there's a 30-second here, but there's a 3-minute as well. Obviously, I enter a bit early after we start taking. I just entered and wait. I didn't wait, unfortunately. I'm not gonna wait for the price to just keep going without me, so I'll get an entry probably like right here. I'm targeting down to right here. Instant TP hit. Instant TP hit. So, extremely clean. And then, honestly, after that, definitely could see longs playing out after this. After this tap at least, but not really sure. I didn't really trade after that. That's a trade for Friday. So there's 2 trades that I personally would like to see, and those were the 2 on Friday. And yeah, that's it. Then that's pretty much it. Pretty easy days. Price action is somewhat cleaning up, but it's not that great. So